All right, going live in three, two, one. This is Totally Random with Katie. We're up to episode 14. Katie, long time no see. I know I said that before we went live. I'm going to say it again. So nice to see you. I'm sure our viewers will be happy to see you too. So how
Yeah,
are you doing?
good. Oh, I thought it froze for a second. I know it's been a while. I feel like it's been a few months, maybe, or maybe just a month, but
It's,
it's been a
it's
while.
actually March the 30th. So it's
Mhm.
been just a little over 2 months. So yeah. So we sorry. I apologize to our viewers because I know people that come on and say they like you. So don't want you to feel you're neglected or anything. So we just lost communication there. It's mainly because of email problems with that we have technical issues with the email. So it's
Yeah. And
nothing.
then
But
I
we
moved, and then it was the process of moving. So it was probably like a mix of that.
so tell us how is your? I mean, would you like to talk about your move? Was that exciting, or is there anything that happened with that?
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting. It was a really interesting day. So, like, my movers, I don't know if you've ever had experience like with movers. They were all like really nice in person, but like and over the phone. But like the thing was is like I had spent like a week like planning everything out, making sure everything was set and like the times. My movers showed up at like an hour and a half late. So and I had planned out like the amount of time to get to the new place I needed to be and like check in and like give myself a little bit of a buffer like to wait for the other movers. But so they were like an hour and a half late. They didn't finish everything because the guy was on his phone most of the time moving the stuff, like talking and like not really paying attention. The other guy was like trying to do most of it by himself. So I was still left with like 4 hours of like moving work. Like most of the time, most of the stuff with the boxes were just they just moved like the furniture. I still had like all the boxes, so I had to like make trips back. But anyway, like after they left because they were done with their like 2 hours, um, I'm like on my way to the place I'm moving to, and I get a call saying that my movers canceled and like can't make it when I had confirmed like at 11:30 the night before. And I
Okay.
was like, wait, what? Like I'm literally driving with a U-Haul to my next location right now. And she was just like, oh, okay, well, we're like gonna find another moving team for you. So this other moving team then calls me and um and tells me that they'll meet me at the location, but they're moving. They've had 4 moves already that day because they've taken on other moves, but they'll be there in like an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, fine. Or like an hour after the time. But I was like, well, I don't really have any other choice. So I guess that's fine. But they were really nice and they got the stuff done really quickly. They were like doing it under 2 hours, but it was just a really crazy day because I would have like, if I would have known they were going to be late before I got on the road and that my people were going to cancel, I would have spent more time like packing up the rest of the stuff that was at my old place. But I thought I had to rush to get there because I thought I was going to be late because of the first movers. So it was just a whole thing. But now that I'm like in my new place and everything, like it's better.
That's good. Well, that sounds pretty stressful. I hate when stuff like that happens. At least I guess in the end it worked out though. So I guess so. But yeah, the as far as does everything get moved okay though? No, nothing damaged or anything. Everything.
Um, yeah, nothing got damaged. I don't think that I know. My cat damaged my couch now that we moved here because I think her scratching post got ruined. I need to get her a new one. So she's like torn the corners of the couch and now my couch looks awful. But I need to figure out a way to like put something on it or do something to help that.
Well, I'll tell you when I moved. I bought my first house. I moved in. My dad helped me move, and he didn't. By the time we were done, we were like kind of angry at each other. So the second time I moved, when I bought my second house, he didn't want to help me move. So it was basically me and my best friend, who I've been known since we were 10 years old. He helped me move. So it's like, and it's a kind of a long experience. For me, it was, I didn't hire any movers. It was just me getting a U-Haul and just loading everything up and bringing everything over. So yeah, it can be a very grueling experience. So
Yeah, so
we
you've never actually had to have like movers you hired.
no, I've not. So in fact, usually with my family, what we do is when my sister moved into and her husband moved into a house, they rented a house for a while before they bought their home, and we all helped her move in. And then after that, I think they did get some movers. So, but for a while, it was mostly just. And then when my dad and his wife, when they moved into their house, I remember helping them move into their house. So it's more like a family thing, kind of. We just get together and we help each other move around. So, um,
Nice.
But unfortunately, like I said, though, my dad and I got on each other's nerves. I guess it's just a lot of hauling of boxes. I'm kind of laughing now because it was, but all day it was just so much work moving my stuff around. He just couldn't stand it. He's getting kind of up in his years, so I guess he just didn't want to do it a second time. So, and
Mm.
usually it's family issues. I don't I'm not saying I wouldn't hire movers. It's usually I just find it's just hey, can I just call someone and say, can you help me move? And that's usually what I deal with. But it can
Yeah.
be that can be a very annoying process, just moving everything, making sure you have everything and getting it over there. So yeah, I know what you went through is not I'm sure not fun. So
Well, and I always think like, I don't know, I'm not crazy about this place, so I kind of want to move again, even though I just moved here like a month ago. But I don't want to go through the hassle of moving everything again. But maybe it'll be worth it. I don't know.
okay. Well, I know our viewers and I know I do especially hope everything works out for you.
Thanks. But let's
So
talk about summer plans.
yeah, so before we go too far, though, I want to remind everybody if you'd like to support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link for NordVPN in the description below. And I'm looking at this on my other computer right now. I'm not going to bring it up, but basically, if you click on that, you get 60% off, which is nice, a nice deal. It's $3.29 a month. That's USD. And if you decide to buy the service, that helps fund what we're doing. And it has you can hide your identity, protect your I'm sorry, how does that go? Hide your hide your identity, protect your information. And you can also, several people have stated that you can watch streaming services from different parts of the world where it would normally be blocked. And they have a deal right now that is in place for the next 9 hours, I guess. If I'm reading it, maybe, oh, I'm sorry, 90s and 9 days or so. So, and it's on the link below. And if you do that, we really appreciate your support there. So, oh, and before we go too far, Katie, is there anything you would like to plug or anything? I'm not sure if I've ever asked you that.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, that's cool. Alrighty, so let's look at our question from our last show. I'm going to bring that up here. We asked, what's the longest amount of time you've been at a job or career? So just for 2 months ago, and we got 76%, over three-fourths at 0 to 5 years, 10% with 16 years plus,
Okay.
8% and 6%, about the same roughly, 6 to 10 and 11 to 15. Cool. So it's interesting. Not very many comments though. I will say we did get a nice number of votes though, about 1,300 votes. That's pretty
Oh
decent.
wow, that's crazy.
And let's
Great.
see. I'm bring up my little magnifier so I can read that there. Give me a second here. It says, if school, then 6 to 10 years. Okay. This is, I assume you mean going to school because I taught for 5 years as a teacher. So does that count? So Frank says for 0 to 5 years is common today because of job hopping. You know, a company for a few years when you get an opportunity to work at another company that will pay more. That's your time to go and move on and hope a good long career. That's interesting. I would say yeah, I jumped from job to job so many times. So I can kind of relate to that. I
How
work up
many
to
jobs did you say? Oh,
my job. Yeah. I think it was something in the number of like range of like 30.
oh
So
wow. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you had a lot.
yeah, it was what happened was I got out of high school and I was doing a lot of jobs and I decided I didn't go to school right away after I got out of high school. So I didn't go. And so what I do is I jumped from job to job and I realized I didn't like it. And there's a psychological term for this. I don't know if I've said this before, but where you jump from job to job because you think the next job is going to be better, but it was just as annoying as the previous job. So I realized I had to stop doing this. And that's when I went to school so I could get work on getting what, an internship so I could get into radio and be, doing that instead. So
Mhm.
but yeah, it's and that after I got into radio, I actually didn't jump from job to job anymore. I kept on getting laid off because in radio there's a lot of format changes, and you get bought out and you get laid off on a regular basis. So at least for me,
Yeah. No, I've heard that happens pretty pretty
yes.
commonly.
So is a here Cote. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Sorry. I worked up to 4 years. It was a rough house for my nerdy ass, but I got through it. The E-rags was mess part. If you don't know what that is, you have to be available to lift 50 pounds or 100 every 5 minutes. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of rough. That does sound rough. Yes. 8 months. So
Oh wow.
I think most people are young, so that's why you get many 16 plus. Let's see. Those Russians. Can't. Sorry, don't have a translator. In modern times, you are. I think it's Russian. Sorry if that's not. In modern times, you're lucky to be somewhere for longer than 2 years. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So at least, well, for me, it is. It's true. I shouldn't say it's true for everybody, but yeah, that sounds true for me. So now, of course, I've been in business since 2006. So I've been running my business. My anniversary is in July, so it'll be 16 years. So I started my
Oh,
business.
wow. That's great. It's a long
And
time.
yeah, that's actually the longest career I've ever had. Like it's, of course, I'm self-employed. I'm not working for someone else, but it's the longest job I've ever had, essentially, for me. So, and but as far as the next longest job, it was like I was there for 7.5 years, and I ended up there was a buyout and a merger with another company. That was with Clear Channel, and Clear Channel bought out another company and merged it. And every like half the people for each company got laid off, including me. So that's the second long. And like I said, it's a common thing in radio. So it didn't surprise me that I would eventually get laid off. So at the time, I'd already started my business anyway, so I already had that to fall back on. So I
Mhm.
didn't start immediately from scratch. So, alrighty. So anything you'd like to add to that?
No.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, we're going to jump ahead into our summer plans. So we wanted to ask a question. Well, how did no what you asked a question? I kind of modified it. We can always, whatever. How
Yeah.
did you want to? How did you want to ask that question?
Um, I guess how many or do you have any summer trips planned? Or unless you want to say, well, because there might be so many different types of places that you can go. I don't know if we should necessarily list them all out, but maybe just are you traveling this summer? Because you might not be, you might be.
Okay. Traveling this summer. Oops. Spell that. Did you? Okay. Yeah, that's good. Summer. Summer. Okay. And we can add to that. Just say leave. If so, where? How's that work?
Hmm.
Would
Well,
like would you like to do that?
oh, and you can leave. Well, is so where leave a comment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
There we go. Oops, misspelled comment. Okay, so I guess we could just say yes and no. Is that right?
Um, yes. I guess it could just be yes and no. It could be easy. It doesn't have to be like multiple choices.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, let's see. Yes, no, maybe I don't care. Another indifferent kind of a thing. Maybe. How's that? Does that look good?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Are you traveling this summer? If so, where? Did I spell that right? Leave a comment. Yes, no, I don't care. Okay. Cool. All right, we can come back to that one later. So, as far as the summer plans, so what are your plans now? Before we went live, you talked about going to a wedding. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I have my friend's wedding next weekend, not this coming weekend, but next weekend. And that's back in Milwaukee, so I'm gonna drive back there. And I mean, she is my friend, but she's like more friends of my friend. So my best friend is standing up, like I think she has two best friends because like well, the other girl's probably more her best friend, but because she's standing up in her wedding, and I got invited because I hang out with them as like a group. So I am kind of curious, like, have you ever been in a situation, or maybe other people can relate, like going to a wedding, but so the bride I know, and she's going to be busy walking around all night, like saying hi to people, and the only other person I really know at that wedding is standing up in the wedding. So, and her boyfriend's going, but so I guess I hang out with the boyfriend, but I'm like, who do I really hang out with if she's going to be busy with like wedding stuff and the bride's going to be really busy? And it's like, I don't really know anyone else that's going to be there. Like, have you ever
Oh,
been in a situation like that?
that's awkward. That's interesting. I have kind of a similar situation. My dad and his wife had a big Thanksgiving get together. My dad asked me if I wanted to come over, and I said, well, he said I did. He wasn't like going to feel bad if I didn't. I told him I didn't really want to come over because it was going to be his wife's family, not our family. So it's like, and that doesn't mean
Mhm.
that our family wasn't going to be there. It's just it was just going to be mainly a get together with all her family. I felt kind of awkward going in since I didn't know her family. So it was like
Yeah.
And so I can kind of relate to what you're saying there in that sense. So I ended up not going, only not to disappoint anybody. I just felt like, I feel like, who am I going to talk to? It's going to be my dad and me, and I'm going to feel, and maybe Diane, his wife, Diane. And
Mhm.
I wouldn't really know anyone else. So I just decided it would just be best if I just stayed home for that one. So,
Well, and sometimes I wonder because I'm like, well, I really want to go because and then I think like, well, I want to go because I want like these people to not be like, oh, well, they didn't come to my wedding, so I'm not going to go to like if she ever has one. But first of all, I don't even know if they. I mean, I would like to think that they would come. But it's like, yeah, like if you don't know anyone, is it I mean, it's still fun to go to a wedding, but then it's also like I can picture in my head how it can go either really good, like I'll just like talk to people and it'll go well, or like everyone's with their group and I'm just by myself and not talking to anyone and like completely by myself. And I'm like, okay, well, this is awkward and just like drinking or eating by myself and just being the person standing by the food table or the bar because there's no one to talk to. Um, so I am kind of curious. We can do an update when I get back, like how the wedding went down. But
well, yeah, and I know what you mean as far as like I've been to like say company parties where I don't know some of the people there, and I just focus on the people I know, and then I very sometimes I'll talk to the people I meet there, and it can be kind of interesting, but mostly I just focus on the people I know, so it makes it kind of awkward if you don't know too many people, especially if your friend she's the one getting married and you're not gonna be able to talk to her that much. Would assume,
yeah. Yeah.
and you said you don't know anyone else except for her, or just a handful of people.
I mean, I'm guessing because this is one of my friends from high school, so I'm guessing there might be like a few people from high school, but it's weird because like I don't know if you had this too, but like there's like different groups in high school, and I feel like I was the person that like there was one group I hung out with of friends, and there was like another group I hung out with friends, but I only like hung out with a few people, but then their groups were also bigger. So there's like some people that I think she's friends with that I've never really even talked to. So maybe it would be fine. I think back to like high school days, but I have to remind myself like I'm not in high school anymore. It's been like how many years since high school? Like people probably just talk to people. Um, Even though they may have not have talked to you in high school, but maybe that's just because we didn't have classes. So I guess to answer your question, maybe there'll be people there I'll talk to. The only person I know for sure will be like free to talk to is my best friend's boyfriend. This is why it's nice to bring someone
Yes.
if you can. But I was tempted to like call one of my friends in Milwaukee and be like, "Hey, meet me at this wedding, and you could be my plus one," just like one of my other random friends.
So that also brings the question, like since you talk about high school, have you ever been to a high school reunion?
No, I actually, I think it was like my 10-year, wait, has it 10 been 10 years? Uh, yeah, my 10 year, everyone was like wondering who's going to schedule it. And I think like everyone started messaging the main girl who was supposed to schedule it. And she finally scheduled it. And I would have went, but it was at this like baseball complex and they were charging $100 for all you can eat and drink soda and hot dogs. And I'm like, who's gonna eat $100 worth of hot dogs? Like I understand it's like part of the reunion, but it's at a free park. Like I think this girl just wanted to make money, or like I don't really know what it was going to.
That's
Um,
interesting. $100 for a free park. I thought maybe he was going to pay for expenses for some, but it doesn't really sound like it when you say that.
I think it might maybe it was like $50 for free hot dogs and soda, and then it was like $100 if you wanted unlimited beer. But I mean, my like myself, I can't drink 10 beers. Like that's 100, like that would be $100 worth of beer. I just didn't really feel like it was worth it at the time. And I think I had other things going on. But I kind of wish I would have went. But I mean, now with like Facebook and stuff, you can already see what everyone's up to. It's almost like, do you do you want to see those people?
Yeah,
I think like
and
before Facebook time, it was more interesting to go to those things because you're like, "Ooh, how do they look now?" or like, "What are they doing?" But you can find all that stuff online.
that's true. The other thing is, I don't know if this would be the same for men and women, but men tend to be a little bit more competitive. I might feel a little jealous if they're doing better than me in some way, or like I see a friend like, oh, you're doing better than me. It's like, or that I'm doing better than them, and they might feel a little like resentful or something. I don't know if that would be a pro. I never went to any of my high school reunions, so
Oh, you never went to any of them?
no. So I don't know. I thought about if there was ever one I thought about, maybe I would, but I don't know. It's been a while. So the funny part is I probably wouldn't even remember half the people there anyway. I was so focused on friends outside of high school when I was in my late teens that
Right.
it'd be more for me. It'd be more like a reunion for those friends rather than the friends that was at high school. So the
Like more, yeah, like people that you made after high school.
yeah, actually, you ever hear the movie The Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah.
I used to hang out with a bunch of friends of that, and when I was going to high school, so I made more friends doing that than I did at high school. So for me,
Oh,
it'd be like a Rocky Horror Picture Show reunion rather than a high school reunion for me.
wow.
So
That's funny.
it'd be for me going to a high school reunion. I might see a few people I remember as friends, but it'd probably be just like me going to that Thanksgiving get together. It'd be like I don't know you, and so I'd probably be standing there talking to nobody, bringing a date along, but it'd just be by myself. So
Well, and that's like, especially if you're going to a high school reunion, like, I feel like you almost want to go with someone you were friends with in high school. So in case it's like weird, you can just always talk to your friend. Not that you're going alone and like there's like like I always wonder if there's still clicky groups, like the people that hung out in high school. Are they only going to hang out with each other at the reunion? Or are they actually going to go around and talk to other people? Because then
yeah,
it's just like you just paid $100 to just hang out with your friends and
yeah.
not really talk to anyone else. But I
And
don't
the other thing is would be the size of the school. I don't know how big your school was, but my high school had 500 students from my graduating
know.
class, roughly. So it'd be a pretty packed, whatever, if there was one, I assume there was, would be pretty packed. I assume they probably hold it at the school itself.
Yeah.
Did you have a large high school?
I think there was probably the same, about like 500 in my class.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you'd have to deal with a lot of people too.
Hmm.
So it'd be, I would assume that out of those 500, probably at least, probably like maybe a fourth of them would probably show up. So you're probably looking like maybe 100 people and their spouses, maybe. So, and friends. So you're probably talking a lot of people. And it'd probably be, and I guess you'd have to, yeah, it'd be, I don't know. Oh, I guess we could ask the audience what they would like. So what would they do?
That's
So,
true. That could be another question. Like, have you ever gone to a high school reunion? I'd
yeah.
be curious if they do that in like other countries, because I know some of the people that listen, some of you listening are from like Russia or like other places. Like, do they do stuff like that there, or is that just more of an American thing?
That's a good question. That is a good question. We can, well, when we go back to look at our first question, we can also we'll ask that one at the same time. So how's that? So
Okay.
how about as far as the summer, do you have any plans for the upcoming summer?
So I have this trip planned. I guess it's kind of summer. It's not June 21st yet, but and then I'm going to Florida in the middle of the month. And then I have you ever been to like Chattanooga, Knoxville, like and seeing like the Smoky Mountains and stuff? Like, kind of.
No,
I
no.
guess there's this really cool bridge that like lights up, and there's just really different cool. I think. Oh, my cat is trying to catch a fly right now. She's like swatting at things. I'm like, what is her problem?
Oh,
Um, she'll do that. Like sometimes I'll purposely let flies in the house just so she has something to play with. She's so bored, and then she'll like take the flies. I don't know if I told you this. She'll take the flies and rip off the wings. Like that's so precise, and let the fly like literally spin there
oh wow. Wait,
and just watch it.
as long as she doesn't let a fly in that's a pregnant fly. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They
Oh,
lay larvae all over the house. Yeah,
oh
those
my
are.
God. No. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I guess yeah. How do you know? Is it just really big?
It's big, yeah, and I had to kill one time, and the larva just started squirting out of its backside. So
Oh my God, that's so disgusting.
it
I
is.
didn't even think flies could be pregnant, but of course there have to be. Oh
It's
my
pretty
God.
gross. And yeah, it's so I can understand letting the fly into play, but yeah, just hope you don't let those in there. It almost looks like when you're looking over like someone's walking into your house for a second there. That's what it looks like. So you're
Oh,
home.
me? Yeah. Well, I have soup on the counter because I made it to eat later, and like she keeps going by the bowl, so I'm making sure she's not like, because she'll do that. Like if I leave food out, especially like avocado or an egg or something, she'll like eat it, or she'll like start. But she looks pretty focused on this fly. Looks kind of scary. Um, but yeah, like Knoxville has really cool like hiking trails. There's this one place called like Ruby Falls or something, and it has like caves and rainbows like in the caves, just of how the structure is, and it looks really neat. So I'm hoping to go there like maybe for my birthday or something like later in the summer.
Okay. Well, I went to when I was younger. My best friend and I think I said we've been friends since we were 10 years old. We drove across the country for a week. We drove from Virginia to California and back in 1 week.
Oh wow.
And it was quite a trip. By the time we were done, we were kind of like irritated with each other. We had to stay away from each other for a while, just being
Yeah,
too
that's
close
a
to
long
each other.
time.
Yeah, especially being in a car for most of that time. So, but one of the places I went to, and I don't know if you've ever seen this. I'm bringing it up on a picture right now. Hold on a second. Oops. Sorry. It's called South of the Border. It's in South Carolina.
Where is that?
I'll bring it. Hold on a second. I haven't brought it up yet. Hold on a second. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Get 1 second. I'll bring it up on the screen for you. There we go. You should be able to see it now. It's called South of the Border, and
Oh,
it's at the South Carolina North Carolina state line off of Interstate 95, and it's like a big tourist trap. It's like a it's just basically it looks like an amusement park, but all it is just basically that might be a ride. Maybe that's some sort of ride or something, but it's really cheap looking. But it's interesting. It's fun.
is
So
that the place that you said like is a tiny town? I'm trying to look at it. Like it had like a bunch of different shops. I don't know if have you mentioned that before?
I've mentioned it before. I don't know if I mentioned it with you. I know I've mentioned it with other people recently, but I don't know if it was with you or not. But the one thing that they sell there is they have an overabundance of fireworks for some reason.
Oh,
Almost every place you walk in there has fireworks all over the place. So apparently in South Carolina, it's completely legal to buy fireworks. So that's one of the big selling points. So
where? So that's in South Carolina?
yeah, it's South Carolina, and it's just south of the North Carolina state line off of Interstate 95. So
Okay.
when you're driving by on the interstate, it stands out like a sore thumb. It's way there. And you're talking about when you're going to what did you say, Chattanooga? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Yeah,
I'm like
this
writing this down because that looks really cool. So it's south of the border in South Carolina.
yes, so yes. And I went there once when I was like 3 years old, and my dad took some pictures, and then once again when I was like 20 years old. So
Oh wow.
and,
Did you
and it's
still like it when you went back again?
Yeah, well, I will say this. I kind of off topic. What happened was when we were there, my car overheated, and I had to pull the thermostat out of the engine. So I was doing some engine work while I was there. So it's kind of frustrating. But other than that, it was kind of fun. Yes. So I was more or less focusing on getting the car fixed at the same time while also examining. And we went when we arrived there. We got there at like midnight. Like it was what time? It was like middle of the night. And the place was lit up all over the place, and every store was open, but there was nobody there. It was really eerie. Like everything was open for business, everything was lit up, but there was just nobody shopping. So it was like they expect people to shop, I guess, 24/7. And it's just really it's interesting, fun, and cheap at the same time. It really looks cheap.
What
But
is like the main attraction you do there? Is it like shopping?
that's it. Yeah, that's all it is, just for
Huh,
shopping.
that's
So
cool.
So if you're ever along Interstate 95, just south of the in South Carolina, just south of the North Carolina state line, I would recommend stopping by. You won't see very much as far as like tourist attractions. It's just a lot of stores. And here you go, you get a better idea. You
I
can see all.
think maybe I saw that because over like the holidays, I was driving back from North Carolina and I went from Florida to South Carolina to North Carolina. And I feel like I saw that because I remember seeing the south of the border thing or like a little kind of community thing. And I was like, what is that? And I wanted to stop, but we had to get to North Carolina. But maybe I saw it, or maybe we had to get to South Carolina. So maybe I saw it, or no, North Carolina. So would you see it if you were going from South Carolina to North Carolina?
You should, yeah, yeah. It's right off the interstate. Either direction, it's right off the interstate. You should see it either direction you're going. It should be because especially these big statue things, they stand out. They really do. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I'll have to
but
check that out.
if you're gonna do something this summer just for fun, I'm not saying it's gonna be the best thing in the world, but it's an experience that you'll never forget. I never forgot it. I remember when I was 3, then again from when I was 20. So, and if I drove along Interstate 95 again one day, I'd probably stop by again just for the fun of it. So,
Hmm.
but as far as any other things, when I was 3 years old, we went to with the Disney World, and that was the last time I ever went to Disney World. So that's the only other summer thing I could think of. But I've not been there since. I used to, not much anymore. I used to go to like some of the local theme parks, like Busch Gardens in Virginia, which is
Yeah.
and then there's what's called King's Dominion. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those parks, but
No, I wanted to always go to Cedar Point. Have you gone to
what's it,
that one?
what's it called?
Cedar Point in Ohio.
Sounds
I
familiar.
feel like I'm too old to go to a roller coaster park now though. Cedar Point. It's
Let's
in
take a,
Sandusky, Ohio.
let's see.
I've heard
Good.
it's like one of the most fun theme parks.
Wow. It looks lively, that's for sure. Just that the
Yeah.
pictures alone to make it look really good. It's pretty fun. I don't know if I'd want to stand in line anymore. It's I have a little bit of a back issue. If I stand too long, it starts to get sore. So I don't know if I could do that anymore. When I was a kid, though, it was in my teens and 20s, definitely. I'd be doing this all the time. So
I know. I feel like I'm like to the age where I'm just like, am I gonna have a heart attack? Like, I don't know if I can ride that thing. I went to over like the holidays, I went to Busch Gardens and I didn't even ride any rides because I was like freaking myself out that I was gonna like die on the ride.
is that the one in Florida or Virginia?
Florida.
Florida. Oh, okay. I've never been to that
It's
one.
really cool. Yeah.
That's cool. Alrighty. Well, we got to go ahead and wrap everything up. So let's go ahead. Real quickly, we'll take a look at our question again. Hold on a second. Let me bring that up here. It says no responses. That's because I haven't refreshed the screen yet. Okay, okay. Oh, we got a few responses. Looks good. About 16 votes so far. I'm sure that'll increase by the next show. Are you traveling this summer? 50, half our audience so far of the 16. So 8 people said yes. Four people said no. 4 people said they don't care. And Beast Mode says hell possibly.
Oh my gosh.
So, well, that's good. So we can, yeah, we can wrap up the. We can while we save our question. Where what was the question we're going to ask? We can. You want to
That
ask it
was
now? Or do you want
about a
to
high
wait till next?
school reunion. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that next time.
Okay, let's do that next time. So we will just keep this one. Okay. So everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to, again, if you want to support what we're doing, there's an affiliate link for NordVPN in the description below. It's right now it's at 60% off. 60% off, and so it's about $329 a month. And if you do buy the service, it helps fund what we're doing. And other than that, we'll see you next week.
See ya.